Double double, toil and trouble, fire burn, and cauldron bubble. That is the very famous opening line for the witches from Shakespeare's play Macbeth, where they then proceed to make a very interesting potion. However, many of those strange and vaguely disturbing ingredients are not actually what they seem and may in fact have been referring to plants of the time. So let's talk about that. Fillet of a fenny snake was the first ingredient added by Macbeth's witches and may actually have multiple meanings that people still are unsure of. One of the meanings may have been this plant, the Jack in the Pulpit, which is a carnivorous and also toxic plant. However, sources state that it may also refer to the leech, the blood-sucking parasite, or perhaps the snake root, where the snake in fenny snake comes from, a very, very poisonous plant that I've talked about before. Now, the Eye of Newt has a much more universal agreement as to what it means, and pretty much everyone agrees that Eye of Newt refers to mustard seed, which is a common spice that is still used today. Toe of Frog is thought to be referring to the bulbous buttercup, yet another toxic plant that can be found in areas of North America, Europe, and Asia. The wool of bat, while most likely not referring to an actual bat, has two possible meanings that I could find, either referring to just moss, non-specifically, or to a little bit more specifically, holly and its bright red berries. Now, tongue of hound is referring to this plant, hound's tongue, very creative, which is an incredibly toxic plant that is natively found in Europe, however, has been introduced into North America, specifically into British Columbia. The ingredient adder's fork may be referring to this, the dogtooth violet, which is not actually a violet, but in fact a type of lily. It's again native to areas in Europe and actually has culinary uses in salads and soup and the such. Now, the ingredient blindworm's sting is another one that has a debate surrounding it. Some people think it may refer to poppies, which are poisonous but also medicinal and are most well known for, other than muffins, producing opium. Other people think that it may refer to wormwood, which is a medicinal plant with many healing uses, or in fact being referred to of an actual blindworm, which is not a worm but in fact a type of legless lizard that can be found in Europe. Now, lizard's leg may refer to actual lizards, but is thought to refer to climbing ivy, which does act as such a lizard where it climbs up various buildings, trees, and other structures. Owlet's wing, when not being in reference to an actual owl, the bird may refer to either ginger or garlic, one of the two. Scale of a dragon may refer to this plant, the dragon scale plant. However, since the dragon scale plant is typically a more tropical plant, I think that it is more likely to actually be its secondary possibility, which is tarragon, a culinary herb that is found more in Europe and Asia, and less in the tropical places. Now, tooth of wolf almost definitely refers to wolfsbane, also known as monkshood, a very, very toxic type of flower. However, some people do think that it may possibly refer to clubsfoot moss, which is also known as wolf's claw. Now, people do think that witch's mummy may in fact actually refer to a real mummy and is not a pseudonym for a plant, which kind of gross, but go off. Same as the maw and gull of the ravined sea salt shark. There isn't really a plant that people could find that corresponds to this description, so it is thought to possibly be actual ingredients from an actual shark, such as perhaps the teeth or the fin or something. However, the next ingredient, root of hemlock, is pretty explicit in meaning hemlock, probably water hemlock, another incredibly toxic plant. Similarly, the next ingredient, liver of blaspheming Jew, which is not great, may actually be referring to real human liver because, again, I could not find any source claiming that this ingredient was a plant. So it might just be an actual liver. But the next ingredient, gall of a goat, most likely refers to either St. John's wort, a medicinal plant, or the honeysuckle. Slips of yew quite obviously refers to yew, which is a tree that is also, again, incredibly toxic. And this one, while a little bit more convoluted, the fingers of a birth-strangled babe, may refer to foxglove, which has another name of bloody fingers, another, again, incredibly toxic plant. The second to last ingredient, tiger's chaudron, I don't know how to pronounce this one, may refer to lady's mantle, a surprisingly non-toxic plant that is apparently quite used in gardens and landscaping to attract pollinators. And the last one, baboon's blood, may or may not actually refer to blood itself. I couldn't find a corresponding plant, so likely it is just actual blood. Now, it is still a matter of debate, and it's not 100% confirmed whether or not these ingredients are referring to their actual, more gruesome body parts, or the less gruesome, but in many cases still deadly plants. Either way, this is an incredibly strange concoction, and by the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes.